What are stem cells?
I like it.
So stem cells are kind of this exciting but also potentially controversial type of cell. I think the thing to start with is the idea that, and this is something that's sort of obvious, but maybe we don't think about it all the time. Living organisms have a property called differentiation. So inside of every living organism, there are different parts of that organism's body. I guess this is not true of single-celled organisms, but any organism that's larger than that will have cells that differentiate inside their body. So if we could jump to my screen really quick, I'll just give you some examples. So this is just a sort of simple diagram of the human body, pointing at some different tissue areas, right? So in your brain, you have nervous tissue formed from nerve cells. You have connective tissue, skeletal muscle, which is muscle cells, epithelial tissue, which is skin cells. And so these other ones, cardiac muscle and smooth muscle, are different types of muscles. But the point is that there are lots of different types of cells that you need that make up your body. Your body is entirely composed of these cells, but you want your different cells to do different things. And so this idea is called differentiation. But the thing to understand is that initially, and I think that the easy way to think about this is through humans, but remember that this could be true of any multicellular organism. But in the case of humans, right, so every human starts as the combination, the zygotic combination between a father's sperm and a mother's egg. So when the sperm cell and the egg cell come into contact with each other, they form a unit called the zygote. And then from there, the baby begins to develop. And there's lots of things you can talk about in baby and embryo development. But the thing that we'd be interested in is at the very beginning, there's something called a blastocyst that develops early on in the stages of a baby developing. And that blastocyst is essentially a ring of cells, and I can actually show you a picture here. So sort of a simple diagram of a blastocyst. There's essentially a ring of cells called the trophoblast, which will eventually become the placenta. It's something that's going to allow nourishment to come through to the fluid of the blastocyst and to the inner cell mass. You can see right here, there's this little area labeled the inner cell mass. The inner cell mass of blastocyst consists of stem cells. So when you were just created, you were just a mass of undifferentiated cells, a mass of cells that had the potential to be anything, but weren't anything yet. So then from there, stem cells are able to either copy themselves to make more stem cells or trigger certain processes that cause them to turn into a particular kind of cell. So a stem cell could differentiate and become a skeletal cell or a muscle cell or whatever type of cell they need to. And so I mentioned at the beginning that stem cells are slightly controversial, and that's because modern medicine believes that stem cells are going to be able to cure many health conditions that we have. Stem cells, even in our bodies, our tissues create what are called adult stem cells, which are essentially just repair cells. Like when a part of your body gets damaged, it can produce stem cells, or what are called progenitor cells, that are pre-differentiated. They don't quite belong to that tissue yet, but then they'll differentiate to start to repair that tissue. So modern medicine thinks that we can take stem cells, particularly stem cells from embryos, and use those stem cells to heal cells in another person's body. The controversy there is that the ways of obtaining those stem cells might be problematic depending on your religious or faith views. But it's definitely true that stem cells do offer a lot of promise in the future, and so I think definitely keeping an open mind to those possibilities and what potentials they offer would be a good call.